They thought I was finished, then the truth appeared. The day my life fell apart started like any other Monday. I woke before the sun, drank my cheap coffee, and walked into the glass tower where I worked. For 4 years, I had poured my energy into that place. I believed my future lived inside those walls. My name is Adrian Hale, and at 27, I had one thing people respected my work. I led a project that could change the company. If it succeeded, we would win a contract worth millions. My team called it Project Nexus. That morning, I felt proud. Nervous, but proud. At 9 o'clock, my manager told me the board wanted to see me. That was normal before big announcements. I thought they might be ready to approve the project. When I entered the boardroom, 10 executives sat around the long table. No one smiled. A giant screen glowed behind them. My mentor, Leon Graves, stood near the screen. He was the one who trained me when I first joined the company. I trusted him more than anyone there. He looked at me with cold eyes. "Adrian," he said slowly, "we found something serious." The screen changed. Documents appeared. Financial records, emails, all of them carried my name. My stomach dropped. Leon folded his arms. "You've been stealing company funds," he said. And in that moment, my world shattered. For a few seconds, I could not breathe. The room felt smaller, like the walls were closing in. "I didn't do this," I said. My voice sounded weak, even to me. One of the executives tapped the screen. "Then explain these transfers." Numbers flashed across the display. Thousands of dollars moving from company accounts to unknown places. Each file had my login attached. "It must be a mistake," I said. "Someone changed the records." The room stayed silent. Leon stepped forward, holding a folder. "We also found these emails." He clicked a button. Messages appeared on the screen. They showed me asking for secret payments and fake reports. I stared at them, shocked. I had never written those messages. The board members watched me like strangers watching a criminal. One woman shook her head. "We trusted you." My chest tightened. "Please check the servers. Someone forged this." Leon's voice was calm. Too calm. "We already did," he said. "Everything leads back to you." I looked around the room for support. Some of these people once praised my work. Now, they avoided my eyes. A man at the end of the table spoke. "Adrian Hale," he said. "You are suspended immediately while we investigate." Suspended. The word felt like a hammer hitting my life. And deep down, a terrible thought appeared. Someone planned this. By the end of the day, my security badge stopped working. A guard walked me out of the building while coworkers stared. Some whispered, others looked away quickly. News travels fast in an office. When the elevator doors opened to the lobby, my phone buzzed with messages. Most were not kind. "Is it true? Did you really steal money? I thought you were better than that." I wanted to scream that it was all lies. But who would believe me? The company had already shown everyone those files. Outside the building, the cold air hit my face. I stood there for a long time. 4 years of work had vanished in one afternoon. Project Nexus, the idea I built from nothing, would move forward without me. I thought about Leon. He was the one who taught me how the company's systems worked. He knew every process, every password level, every rule. And he was the one who presented the evidence. A strange feeling grew inside me. Not anger yet. Something quieter. Confusion. Why would he do that? My phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from a coworker I trusted. "Adrian, the board just fired you." I read the message twice. Then a second line appeared. "They say the case will be sent to the authorities." The next weeks felt like a storm that never ended. My name spread across news sites and company blogs. The story sounded simple. Young employee steals company funds and gets caught. No one asked my side. Friends stopped calling. Some neighbors stared when I passed them in the hall. I tried to explain to a few people, but they only nodded politely. Their eyes told me they already decided what to believe. Without my job, rent became a problem. I sold my car first. Then I moved into a tiny apartment far from downtown. Every night, I replayed the boardroom meeting in my mind. The screen, the documents, Leon's cold voice. Something about it felt wrong. Too clean, too perfect. If someone framed me, they planned it carefully. And if that was true, the answer had to exist somewhere. One evening, I opened my laptop and stared at the empty screen. Part of me wanted to quit, but another part refused. I began writing a list. server logs, email timestamps, access records. If someone used my login, there would be traces. It might take months, maybe years, but I only needed one thing, proof, because the truth was still out there somewhere. And I planned to find it. My investigation began in silence. During the day, I worked small freelance jobs to survive. At night, I studied everything I could about the company systems. I knew those systems well. I helped design parts of them for Project Nexus. But Leon knew them better. That thought kept returning. If someone wanted to frame me perfectly, they needed deep access. After 3 weeks, I contacted a former coworker named Mark Talbot. He worked in the IT department. We were never close friends, but he respected my work. I asked him to meet for coffee. When he arrived, he looked nervous. "Adrian," he said quietly, "this could get me in trouble. I'm not asking you to break rules," I said. "Just answer something." He hesitated. Then he nodded. I showed him copies of the fake emails the company released. "Can email timestamps be changed?" I asked. Mark studied the screen. "Not easily," he said. "But someone with admin rights could rewrite server logs." "Who has that level?" He sighed. "Very few people." "Like who?" Mark looked around the cafe before answering. "The head of operations." My heart sank. That position belonged to Leon Graves. And suddenly, the pieces felt closer to fitting together. Mark could not give me access to company servers. That would risk his job. But he offered something else. "Old backup archives sometimes sit on external drives," he said quietly. "They're stored off-site. Could they show original logs?" I asked. "If someone changed records later?" "Yes." My pulse quickened. "Where are they?" Mark hesitated again. Then he scribbled an address on a napkin, a storage facility the company used last year. Some drives were never picked up. That night, I drove across the city using a borrowed car. The facility looked quiet and forgotten. Rows of metal doors stretched under dim lights. According to Mark's note, the archive sat in locker 118. My hand shook as I reached it. The lock was simple. After a few minutes of careful work, the door slid open. Inside stood several dusty boxes. Each held labeled hard drives. I felt like I had stepped into buried history. For hours, I copied files onto my laptop, server logs, email backups, system reports. The data covered months around the time of my accusation. If Leon altered records, the original versions might live here. As the sun began rising, I closed the locker and left. For the first time since the boardroom meeting, hope flickered inside me. Somewhere in those files, the truth might be waiting. The next month became a blur of numbers and code. Every night I searched through the backup data. At first, it felt endless. Thousands of files, millions of lines of logs. But slowly, patterns began to appear. One night, I found something strange. A login under my username appeared at 3:12 a.m. on a Sunday. That was impossible. I was at my sister's birthday dinner that night. I still had photos from it. I checked the IP address connected to the login. It did not match my home network. Instead, it traced back to an office computer on the executive floor. My heart pounded. Only a few people used machines there. One of them was Leon. I kept digging. More late-night logins appeared. All under my name. All from machines I never used. And every time, the activity involved financial records connected to Project Nexus. Someone used my account to create a trail. A perfect trail. But the backups revealed something the altered logs hid. Another username appeared minutes before those actions. An administrator account. The owner of that account was clear. Leon Graves. For the first time, I had something real. Not proof yet, but a crack in the lie. Finding suspicious logs was only the beginning. To prove Leon framed me, I needed stronger evidence. Something no one could deny. I studied the data again and again. Eventually, another clue appeared. Each fake email sent from my account came from the same office computer, a workstation labeled Terminal 47. That terminal belonged to the operations office, Leon's office. Still, the company could argue someone else used it. I needed something that placed Leon there during those actions. I remembered something important. The building used security cameras everywhere. Elevators, hallways, entrances. If I could find footage from those nights, it might show who used Terminal 47. Getting that footage would be difficult. The company controlled those records. but sometimes security companies kept backups for maintenance. After days of searching online, I found the contractor that installed the system, a small company across town. I visited pretending to research camera technology. During casual conversation, I asked about archive storage. The technician mentioned that older recordings were sometimes stored on long-term servers. Mostly nobody checks them, he said. My heart raced. If recordings from those nights still existed, they could reveal everything. The truth might literally be on camera, and I intended to find it. Convincing the security company to let me see old footage required patience. I could not tell them the real reason. Instead, I said I was researching office security for a consulting project. After several visits and friendly conversations, one technician finally agreed to help. His name was Carlos Vega. Only quick access, he warned. I'm not supposed to share client recordings. That's fine, I said. We sat in a small control room surrounded by monitors. Carlos opened the archive system. Which date? He asked. I checked my notes. The night of March 14, I said. He loaded the hallway camera outside the executive offices. The footage appeared grainy, but clear enough. At 3:05 a.m., the hallway stood empty. Then a figure entered from the elevator. The person walked directly toward the operations office. My chest tightened. The man wore a dark coat, but when he passed under the light, his face became visible. Leon Graves. Carlos leaned closer to the screen. Your friend? He asked. I forced a calm smile. Something like that. The video continued. Leon unlocked his office and stepped inside. 5 minutes later, the system log showed my username sending those fake emails. The timeline matched perfectly. For the first time, the lie had a witness, a silent camera, and it had been waiting there all along. Carlos allowed me to copy the clip quickly. Don't tell anyone where you got it, he said. I won't, I promised. When I left the building, my hands trembled with excitement. I now had 2 important pieces. Server backups, showing Leon using admin access. Security footage placing him in the office during the fake activity. But I knew something important. People in power rarely fall from just one mistake. Leon would deny everything. He might claim he was working late or fixing system problems. I needed something that showed intent. Proof he planned the frame. That answer came unexpectedly. One evening, Mark called me. You asked about Terminal 47, he said. Yes. I checked equipment records. That machine had a special monitoring program installed. What kind? Screen recording software. My heart skipped. You mean it recorded activity? Sometimes for troubleshooting, Mark said. Short clips saved locally. Are they still there? I'm not sure, he replied. But if someone forgot to delete them, my mind raced. If a recording existed showing Leon using my account, the case would be undeniable. But accessing that computer meant entering the building again, the same building that believed I was a criminal. Still, I knew the answer. To reveal the truth, I had to return to the place that destroyed me. Breaking into the building felt surreal. A year earlier, I walked through the front doors every morning with coffee in my hand. Now I waited in the shadows across the street. The office closed early on Fridays. By midnight, most lights were off. Mark helped me one last time. He gave me a temporary access card that would work for a few minutes before security systems noticed. Use it once, he warned, then destroy it. At 12:40 a.m., I crossed the street. My heart hammered as the glass doors slid open. The lobby looked exactly the same. Polished floors, quiet lights, but I felt like a stranger. I moved quickly to the elevator and pressed the executive floor. Every second felt heavy. When the doors opened, the hallway stretched silent ahead. Leon's office waited at the end. Terminal 47 still sat inside. My borrowed card opened the door. The room smelled the same as before. Expensive wood, strong coffee. I sat at the computer and began searching the system. Folders filled the screen. Logs, temp files, old recordings. My breath stopped. One folder contained several screen captures from March. Short clips, each lasting a few minutes. I opened the first file. And there he was, Leon Graves. Using my account, the recording showed everything. Leon sat at Terminal 47 while the screen displayed the company email system. He typed calmly. I watched the cursor move as he wrote messages under my name. Each sentence matched the emails used to accuse me. He even smiled once, like a man pleased with his own plan. My stomach twisted. For a moment, anger burned inside me, but I forced myself to stay focused. I copied every recording onto my drive. There were 6 clips total. Together, they showed him accessing financial records, changing logs, and sending fake messages. At one point, he even spoke quietly to himself. "Soon everyone will believe it," he murmured. Those words sent chills down my spine. When the copying finished, I wiped my traces from the computer. Then I left the office quickly. Back on the street, the night air felt colder than before. But inside me, something had changed. For the first time in a year, I knew the truth completely. Leon did not just frame me. He planned it carefully, probably to take control of Project Nexus after removing me. Now I had the proof, but exposing him required the right moment. Because if I moved too soon, he might escape again. For several weeks, I prepared quietly. Evidence alone is powerful, but timing is stronger. I learned that the company planned a major conference in 3 months. Executives, investors, and media would attend. The purpose was clear. They wanted to announce the success of Project Nexus. My project. Leon would likely stand on that stage and accept praise. The thought made my chest tighten, but it also gave me the perfect opportunity. If the truth appeared during that event, everyone important would see it at once. No quiet cover-ups, no hidden explanations, just the facts displayed for the world. I spent nights organizing my evidence, server logs, security footage, screen recordings. I built a simple presentation connecting every step of the timeline. Leon entering the building, Leon using admin access, Leon sending emails under my name. Each piece fit together like parts of a puzzle. When finished, the story became impossible to ignore. Still, one challenge remained. How would I get it onto the conference screens? The company would never invite me, but large events often use outside technicians. And sometimes the people running the technology care more about working equipment than company politics. So I started looking for a way inside. The conference would take place at a large hotel downtown. After some research, I learned which company handled the audio and video systems. 2 weeks before the event, I contacted them. I introduced myself as an independent technician looking for short contract work. Luckily, they needed extra hands. By the time the conference arrived, I was wearing a staff badge. No one recognized me. Most people at the company only saw my face once during the scandal, and a year had passed. Still, I kept my head low. The ballroom buzzed with activity as workers set up lights and screens. I helped connect cables and test microphones. The main stage had a massive display behind it, exactly what I needed. During rehearsal, I checked the control computer running the presentation system. It allowed external media files to be loaded quickly. That night, in my small apartment, I made final adjustments to the evidence video. I added a simple opening line, the truth about Project Nexus. No dramatic music, no shouting, just clear facts. Because the truth did not need decoration. The next morning, the ballroom filled with executives, investors, and reporters. And somewhere among the technicians sat me, waiting for the right moment. The conference began with bright lights and confident speeches. Executives talked about growth, innovation, and the future. I watched quietly from the control area beside the stage. No one paid attention to the technicians. We were invisible unless something broke. After an hour, the host announced the main presentation. Please welcome the head of operations, Leon Graves. Applause filled the room. Leon walked onto the stage wearing a confident smile. A year ago, that smile destroyed my life. Now I studied it carefully. He began speaking about leadership and progress. Then he mentioned Project Nexus. My team worked tirelessly to build this system, he said. The giant screen displayed slides, showing charts and designs. My designs. My hands tightened around the control keyboard. Soon he would present the final results. That was the moment. When the project stood at its highest praise, I loaded my video file silently. Leon continued talking. And this success proves our commitment to honesty and excellence. Honesty. The word echoed through the room. I pressed the key. The screen flickered. His presentation vanished, and the truth appeared instead. At first, the audience looked confused. The screen turned black for a moment. Then, white letters appeared. The truth about Project Nexus. Whispers moved through the ballroom. Leon turned around slowly. "What is this?" he asked. The video began. The first clip showed security footage of the executive hallway. The timestamp read, March 14, 3:05 a.m. Leon's face became visible as he walked into his office. A murmur spread across the crowd. Leon stared at the screen. "This is some kind of mistake," he said. But the video continued. Next came the server logs. Clear lines highlighted where my account was used from Terminal 47. Immediately after, another log showed Leon's admin account active on the same machine. Gasps rose from the audience. Then the final clip played. The screen recording. Leon typing fake emails under my name. His quiet voice filled the speakers. Soon everyone will believe it. Silence crashed over the room. No one spoke. No one moved. Leon's confident smile had vanished. His face turned pale as he watched himself commit the crime. When the clip ended, the screen went dark again. Then a microphone turned on beside the stage, and I stepped forward. Walking onto that stage felt unreal. Hundreds of people stared at me. Some recognized my face slowly. Whispers turned into shocked voices. Leon backed away from the microphone. "You," he said. His voice sounded thin. I faced the audience. "My name is Adrian Hale," I said. "A year ago, I was accused of stealing from this company." The room remained silent. I continued calmly. "The evidence you saw earlier today was used to destroy my career." I pointed to the screen behind me, but those records were changed. I explained each part of the timeline, the backup server logs, the security footage, the recordings from Terminal 47. Every detail matched. Reporters began raising cameras. Flashlights sparked across the room. Leon tried to interrupt. "This is illegal manipulation," he said loudly. I turned toward him. "Then explain the recordings," I replied. For a moment, he had no answer. The audience watched him carefully now. Executives in the front row whispered among themselves. One of them stood up. "Security," he called. Two guards moved toward the stage. But they did not come for me. They walked straight to Leon Graves. And the room erupted with stunned voices. Leon tried to protest as the guards approached. "You can't believe this," he said. "He broke into company systems." But the evidence had already spoken. The executives looked shaken. One woman from the board stepped onto the stage. She studied the recordings on the screen again. Then she turned to Leon. "Is there any explanation?" she asked. Leon opened his mouth. No words came out. That silence said everything. The guards asked him to step away from the microphone. Reporters rushed closer to capture every moment. I stood quietly while the scene unfolded. Part of me expected anger or revenge to fill my chest. Instead, I felt something calmer. Relief. The truth no longer lived in the shadows. It stood in front of everyone. As Leon was escorted toward the exit, he looked back at me. His expression mixed anger and disbelief. "You ruined everything," he said. I met his gaze. "No," I replied quietly. "You did." The ballroom doors closed behind him. For a few seconds, the room remained frozen. Then the questions began. Reporters surrounded the stage. Executives whispered urgently. And the story that once destroyed my life began changing direction. Within an hour, the conference transformed into a storm of news. Reporters rushed outside to broadcast updates. Headlines appeared online almost immediately. Executive accused of framing employee. Shocking evidence revealed at corporate event. Phones rang across the ballroom. Some investors looked furious. Others looked relieved. The board members gathered in a small circle near the stage. Eventually, one of them approached me. Her name was Clara Bennett, the senior director. "Adrian," she said carefully, "we need to talk." We moved into a quiet meeting room nearby. Several executives joined us. Their faces showed embarrassment and concern. Clara folded her hands. "We believe the evidence presented last year," she said. "I understand," I replied. "The proof was convincing." She nodded slowly. "But what you showed today changes everything." Another executive leaned forward. "We will begin a full investigation immediately," he said. "The authorities will also review this case." I remained calm. That part was expected. Then Claire added something surprising. "Project Nexus was always your creation," she said, "and the company owes you more than an apology." Her words hung in the air. For the first time since the scandal began, the people who once judged me were finally listening. The investigation moved quickly. Within days, authorities reviewed the recordings and server data. Leon Graves was questioned by investigators. News channels followed the story closely. Many commentators expressed shock that such a careful frame could exist inside a major company. More details slowly emerged. Leon had transferred control of Project Nexus to himself after my firing. If the system succeeded, he would receive major bonuses and promotions. Removing me was part of that plan. When investigators checked his financial history, they also found suspicious payments connected to the fake accounts used in the scheme. The case against him grew stronger every day. Meanwhile, my life began shifting again. Reporters asked for interviews. Former coworkers sent messages of apology. Some sounded sincere, others felt uncomfortable. I did not blame them completely. People often believe what they see first. But truth takes time. One afternoon, Clara Bennett called me back to the company headquarters. Walking through those doors again felt strange. A year earlier, I left under shame. Now employees looked at me with curiosity and respect. In the boardroom, Clara spoke directly. "We want to make this right," she said. Then she placed a contract on the table. And my future changed once more. The offer surprised me. The company wanted me to return, not as a regular employee, as a partner leading Project Nexus. Clara explained their reasoning. "Your work created the system," she said, "and your investigation protected the company from a much larger scandal." The board members around the table nodded. One of them added, "We would also like you to help rebuild trust in our operations." I studied the contract quietly. Part of me remembered the humiliation from a year ago, walking out under accusation, losing everything. Returning would not erase that pain, but another part of me thought about the work itself. Project Nexus still mattered to me. It was the idea I spent years building, and now the truth had cleared my name. "Will the company publicly correct the story?" I asked. Clara answered immediately. "Yes, we already released a statement confirming your innocence." I took a slow breath. Then I signed the agreement, not for revenge, not for pride, but because the truth deserved to move forward. As I left the boardroom, the same hallway that once felt hostile now seemed different. Sometimes justice does not arrive quickly, but when it finally appears, it changes everything. 22. The following weeks felt like stepping into a new life. News reports confirmed the investigation results. Authorities charged Leon Graves with fraud and evidence manipulation. His reputation collapsed almost overnight. Meanwhile, the company held another press event. This time, I stood on the stage openly. Clara introduced me as the original creator of Project Nexus. She explained how the system had been developed and how the earlier accusations were false. Cameras flashed across the room. I kept my speech simple. "The truth matters," I said, "even when it takes time to appear." After the event, many reporters asked about the year I spent proving my innocence. Some expected anger or dramatic revenge stories, but I told them something honest. The hardest part was not losing my job, I said. It was knowing the truth existed while no one could see it. That silence taught me patience. Slowly, public opinion changed. Articles described my investigation as determined and careful. Former coworkers began treating me with respect again. Yet I remembered how quickly opinions can shift. That memory kept me grounded. Because success built on truth is stronger than success built on lies. Returning to work felt different from before. Now I led a larger team, improving Project Nexus. The system continued growing and attracting new clients. But the biggest change was inside the company culture. Executives introduced stronger oversight for digital records. Security teams updated monitoring systems. No one wanted another scandal like Leon's. Sometimes younger employees asked me about the investigation. "How did you keep going for a whole year?" one intern asked. I thought carefully before answering. "Because facts don't disappear," I said. "They only wait for someone patient enough to find them." Late nights still happened, but now they focused on innovation instead of survival. Mark Talbot received recognition for helping review system security. Carlos Vega from the security company also received a quiet thank you. Without them, parts of the truth might have stayed hidden. Life slowly returned to normal, but one difference remained. Whenever I walked past the executive hallway where Terminal 47 once sat, I remembered that night of recordings, a small reminder that integrity matters most when no one thinks they are being watched. 1 year after the conference, the company held another major event. This time, the celebration honored the official launch of Project Nexus worldwide. Hundreds of partners and journalists attended. Standing backstage before my presentation, I remembered the day everything collapsed. The same nervous energy returned, but now it carried pride instead of fear. When I stepped onto the stage, the audience applauded warmly. The large screen behind me displayed the finished Nexus system running in real time. Data flowed across the display like bright rivers. This project began with a simple idea. I told them, to make complex systems easier for everyone. I paused for a moment. Then I added something personal. A year ago, I thought my career was over. The room grew quiet, but sometimes the truth takes its time. I explained how patience and evidence eventually revealed what really happened, not in dramatic detail, just enough to show the lesson. When the presentation ended, the applause felt genuine. As I walked off the stage, Clara smiled. "You handled that perfectly," she said. I looked back at the bright screen, the same kind of screen that once showed lies. Now it showed progress, and that felt like the right ending. Even now, people sometimes ask me the same question. What did you feel when the truth finally appeared? The answer is not what they expect. It was not victory. It was not revenge. It was quiet. The moment the video played in that conference hall, something heavy lifted from my life. For a year, I carried doubt from everyone around me. But facts do not care about rumors. They wait patiently until someone reveals them. Today, Project Nexus operates in companies around the world. My team continues improving it every year. Sometimes new employees learn the story behind it. They often look surprised that something so destructive could happen inside a respected company. I tell them the lesson I learned. Integrity is strongest when tested. The boardroom where I was once accused still exists. Sometimes meetings take place there. Whenever I walk past that door, I remember the day my world collapsed. But I also remember the day the truth appeared on a giant screen and changed everything. Because in the end, lies may move quickly, but the truth always arrives. And when it does, nothing can stop it.